Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Red 5 Studios, welcome to our PAX East presentation today. My name is Keith Anderson. I'm the marketing director at Red 5 Studios. And up with me on stage, I have Mark Kern, the CEO and Chief Creative Officer of Red 5, formerly project lead on World of Warcraft. And alongside him, we have Scott Youngblood. He's our lead designer. And previously, he was lead designer on Tribes. So this is kind of what happens when MMOs meet Tribes. And we'll take you through a lot more of that today. Thanks for everyone for coming. We've got our community here, we've got our press here, and this is also streaming live on Twitch TV, so hello to everyone online. For the press, you would have received a press kit from us. In the front pocket of that bag, you will find an eraser-like USB key. All the screenshots and video from today is on this key. It's exclusive for you for this weekend. It'll be distributed on Monday across the interwebs, so enjoy. And on that note, I'm going to be handing over to Mark Kern. Thank you, everyone, and have a good time.
Here we go. Hey, guys, welcome to another PAX. I love PAX. It is my favorite show, and it has a very special meaning for Red 5 because it kind of symbolizes the fact that our industry is changing. We're going from a distribution model that's mostly in stores to digital directly to gamers. And we said that's what Red 5 is about. We want to go direct to gamers, and we want to embrace the community, and that's why PAX is the show that we choose to go to and not E3 or some of the other ones. So a lot of you know that we make Firefall, but I don't think you guys understand why we started Red 5 quite yet, because we haven't really talked that much about it. We started Red 5 because I was tired of making the same games kind of over and over again, licenses in particular when I came at Blizzard. I mean, World of Warcraft was awesome. My experience at Blizzard was fantastic, but I wanted to do something different. I felt like things were changing in our industry, and surely enough, they have been. And I wanted to create a company that sort of changed everything and created fun, and that is the motto for the company. So what do we mean by that? It means that what we want to do is to not make the same type of MMOs over and over again, not make the same type of games over and over again, not do business the way that business has been done in gaming. We wanted to make AAA games free of charge for everyone. We wanted to really enhance the creativity of individuals, not just in our own company, but to encourage it throughout the industry as well. We're in a time where the gaming industry needs fresh ideas. So we want to be a part of that. We want to help encourage that. We want to change the industry, change games, create more fun for people and more fun for gamers. Oh. Just play this one. Skip. Please pardon the technical difficulties. Okay, so what Firefall is trying to do, we're doing a lot of firsts. First of all, we are trying the MMO FPS genre, and that is a very difficult path, as we've seen from other games that have attempted it before. But this time, we wanted to interject real action gameplay, real shooting experiences, being a shooter first and foremost, and then selectively adding MMO elements. But we didn't want to add any MMO elements. We wanted to get away from static quest givers with exclamation points over their head, and we wanted kind of more of an open, sandboxy world where you go out there, missions get pushed to you, and things just happen in the world. So we developed a lot of tech for what we call dynamic encounters, but unlike some other games, our encounters they're not stuck to the ground anywhere. We wanted the server and the game designer AI on the server to place these events wherever they wanted to. And so we developed technology allow you to have these events occur anywhere in the world, and it's not like we put them there, it's like the game server decided to put it there. We even have events that can move. So like our tornado encounter is a dynamic event that spawns in the world, and it actually moves through it. So this getting away from being fixed to geography and going into more of an organic, time-based thing took a lot of work. And it was something that we're pretty proud of, but we're continuing to work on. But it wouldn't be possible except to try all these new things, except for one thing, which is the way that we approach game development. We wanted to change everything about how game development, and especially MMO development, is done. So what does this mean? This means that a year after we announced, and a year into development, we decided to let the community into the game in alpha form. And we've been in an extensive state of testing through alpha and beta for 2 years now. That's really early. MMOs take 3 to 5 years to build, and normally you don't get to play them until the last 6 months, if even then. They've gotten even shorter, last 3 months. Well, with the budgets going up and people trying new things, does it really make sense to spend $200 million on something that you haven't tried with your gaming community yet and then release it in the last 3 months and just hope that it works? We thought that that was a really risky way to go about it, and especially since we wanted to innovate, we knew we had to find a better way. So, Red 5 builds games with community. We really like to connect with them. We really wanted to get people an early taste. We call it sort of like being in the kitchen with the developers, and we're sitting here making soup, and even before the soup is fully seasoned yet, gamers and people get to taste the soup and help us finish it to perfection. So we throw a lot of new ideas out there very early, and this is hugely risky because people aren't used to this type of beta. They come in expecting the game to be finished. They don't expect things to change much during beta to open beta. But that's not us, because we change everything. So, with the help of our beta testers, we have done a tremendous amount of work. We've remade the game probably 3 times. They're on a 3rd iteration. Each time the metrics tell us we're doing better and better. We get data from the game, we have automated systems, and we have extensive feedback and connection with our community that tells us that our recipe is working. We eliminate the risk and we increase the fun all along the way. So this latest patch that's available today changes things yet again. It is the biggest patch we've ever done. There's 26 pages of change notes, and this was all community driven. And this is, I think, really exemplar of the process that we're doing. And what we put out there is still the raw soup. It's still just the raw ingredients that needs the community feedback to help us finish it and polish it to a new state. So we've added a lot of stuff to the game. There are basically new environments that we've added. We've heard loud and clear that the PvE players want more content, so we've been going through the world and adding content. We've changed up the battle frames. We've split them off from PvP so that the PvE frames can be fully craftable, fully modifiable to your heart's content without affecting the PvP game at all. So this gives both camps the best of both worlds. We've created 30 new local events, which are new sort of adventure areas in the world that you can explore, and we populated them with dynamic events. So when you go there, you're not quite sure what event you're going to get, but it's going to be different from the last time you went there. And we created a new user experience. That was a huge bit of feedback from the team and the community. It's like, hey, we need a way to get new players into the game. The community's been super helpful in chat, helping people to get acclimated, but we thought we'd lend a hand and actually create a tutorial area where you can try this out. Now, this is important because you just have one character in Firefall, but you can play every single frame. And one thing that we've changed with this is that we've introduced 15 possible frames, and we plan on introducing even more in the future. So these are things that you can play and unlock in the game, and they all have unique abilities and unique styles. The other thing that we've done that we're very big on is our whole invasion system. The ultimate bad guys of Firefall are the Chosen, and they dynamically come into the world and invade key points in the world and take them over. And so I'll show you a little bit about that.
This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. But it is perhaps... The whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us.
Our sons, pride of our nation, this day have set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic and our civilization, and to set free a suffering humanity.
But if we fail, then the whole world, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink in the abyss of a new dark age.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay. There is a point beyond which they must not advance.
They came out of the storm, filling our skies, burning our cities. We fought back, hit them hard. Still, there are so many. Some say we can't win, that we've lost too much, that the war is already over. But if this is mankind's last stand, if we're going down, we're not going down without a fight.
Okay, so that's a sneak peek of some of the new chosen siege mechanics that are in the game, and I'll walk you through a little bit of them right now. So the first thing you might have noticed is that we made the invasions a little more elaborate. Rather than the chosen just showing up and shooting people, they lay down siege cannons, these things here, which start to pummel the different towns and POIs in the game with long-range fire. And this fire basically is directed at shield generators around the town. And if they take those generators down, that main shield drops around the Sin Tower, which is kind of like their internet for the world, and that connects everybody together. And if the chosen take that, you'll lose the whole area. And in order to push back against that, you're going to have to take out the siege towers. They'll flip to your side for a second. You'll have to defend them. You'll have to make sure they don't get the shield generators. And if you don't do all that, the melding will actually come in and sweep over that entire area, and you will lose it. And you don't want to lose it because each of these POIs gives you a specific bonus in the game. For example, we were at Thump Dump, and what Thump Dump does is affect your cooldown timers. And on Sunken Harbor, the other area we're testing right now, that we want our users to help us test, you lose an XP bonus. And so you really want to like push these areas back. When the melding rushes over it, it's on a 3-hour timer right now before it recedes, and then you can go and take back that POI from the chosen. So we're pretty proud about the enhancements that we've been doing in here. We also have completely buffed the chosen with masks, apparently. Now you will no longer be able to single out chosen from each other. They've got a lot more personality. They say new things. They've got different aspects. They work more like you'd see battle frames working out in the real world. We have snipers, for example, for the first time. I know you thought they were snipers before, but now they're really snipers. And and we have engineers, and they have drones, and they also have a new race that they brought along with them called Tortured Souls. And it's a little bit of a mystery about who they are or what they come from, but they're these like shambling zombie-like creatures that are hideously malformed and very fun to shoot. So they have distinct roles on the battlefield. We wanted to play more like, example, if you were playing PvP in a team, they kind of like have strategies and tactics. And as we refine this, we'll be applying it to, say, the Accord guards and everything else, and making all the NPCs in our world smarter. Because we wanted to make an action game where shooting the enemies was actually a lot more involved, a lot more fun than it is in a traditional MMO. And don't worry, the full invasion is still coming with these ships that we call Dark Slips. Based on what we learn and what you guys tell us from the siege mechanics we have in right now, we're going to change and roll out a new invasion system for taking the main cities of the world. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Scott Youngblood to talk about some of the finer points of what's going in this patch.
All right, so Mark mentioned that we've built this game like 3 times now, and he's not kidding. But we've done it, not because we like to change things just for the sake of changing it. We did it based on you guys, right? The way that we're building Firefall is, it's very different. It's very challenging, but we think it's the right way to build video games, right? It's very interactive with you guys. We get to hear what you think, what you want, adopt those changes, and then produce something that hopefully everybody in the world will like to play, right? So thank you for your feedback so far and getting us to this point. So I'll go into detail on some of the changes that we've done to our progression system. We've done this before. We started off as a level-based game to where you would go up in levels, and as you got a new level, you would get access to a piece of gear. Well, the problem with that system was that the higher you went up in the level system, the longer it took, which meant the more time it took you to get a new piece of gear. And so we decided that that wasn't good enough. So we explored some different systems, and we tried some different things. And we got rid of levels entirely, and we invented this new thing called tiers. And we thought that was going to be the right plan, right? That was going to be the final answer for us, because it solved all the level problems. Well, really, tiers were just a different name for levels, and we had less of them. And in addition, we also introduced this concept of the tech trees, which out of the gate were a lot of fun to go through and unlock all those things and really fill it out and get 100%, and you felt like you accomplished something. But through feedback, listening to you guys, we also realized that there were problems with that system as well. And those problems were that, well, you had to take gear that you didn't necessarily want, right? And so sometimes those choices weren't as fun as they could be. Well, if they're not as fun as they could be, what can we do to make it more fun? That's what we asked ourselves. That's what you guys were telling us. And so what did we do? Well, we got rid of tiers. They're gone entirely. In addition, we've modified our system to be a little more responding to exactly what you guys want, right? The problem I had with the tech trees was that I couldn't create the guy that I wanted to create, right? The tech tree was driving my progression for me in a way that I didn't want it to. And so we decoupled that from the game entirely. Now you get to modify your constraints by themselves independently. Each one of these constraints also has mechanical benefits. So as you are going up here, I'm increasing my mass. That shows the bar going up at the right. All of these have mechanical benefits in the game. So the more power CPU that you put into your character, the more benefit you'll get from that constraint. The more of the constraints that you use, the more of the benefit goes away. So there's a nice balancing act that you guys will be able to do with your constraints. In addition, progression has also changed severely for manufacturing as well too. So here is a prototype. Doesn't look like this in game, so bear with us. The UI that you're going to see in game is pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie about that. And it might confuse you at first, but please bear with us. It's a mechanical test. We want you guys to go out, really build all these items, try them, play with them. Tell us what you like, what you don't like about the items, and help us make this game what we know it all can be. All right, so that's a good example of the manufacturing tree. And so these changes, getting away from tiers and going into a tierless structure affected both PvP and PvE differently. PvP, we equalized all the gear. We took out manufacturing components from the tree so that now it's really your skill that's going to determine who's going to win. We got a lot of feedback that the manufacturing gear was negative for PvP because a guy who had more time could build a better gun than you, and that wasn't fun for a skill-based game. So we learned, and we equalized those battle frames and retuned them for different styles of play for each frame that are both supportive of PvP as well as PvE. Each PvE frame also has abilities that are not available in PvP that will be fun for going out and collecting those resources. All right, and in addition to the changes that we've made to our progression system, we've also introduced a bunch of new areas of content that Mark was talking about. Right? All of these areas in the game provide different things that provide different rewards that you'll need in order to progress your frames. So here we've got a video that shows a bunch of these areas. We're just going to fly through some of them and kind of let you know really what these areas kind of look like. And they're scattered all around Coral Forest. Some of these are pretty hard to find. Some of them will be easier to find. But all of the Ares team's missions that occur in these will be communicated to you via the world map. So you'll get notifications to go and sabotage a cave or whatever the particular adventure is. All right, and moving on from these. Thumpers have also improved. So Firefall is a social game. Now, one of the problems I had with the way that Thumpers were working before was I'd be out there collecting my resources, and somebody'd come up, and I'd invite them to the squad. But if they didn't see the invite, then they wouldn't actually be in my squad, which meant they were getting no benefit. That was bad. In addition, we got a lot of feedback from you guys, again, that sharing the resources amongst your squad was a disincentive for you to actually play with your friends, right? Because your friends coming with you take some of your resources. That was also undesirable. So we changed that. We made Thumpers extremely social now. So if you throw one down and anybody that comes up and helps in that area, they get a benefit. It doesn't take any benefit from you. In addition to that, now if you open up your world map, you'll see Thumpers advertised across the map. In addition to that, the thumper is going to tell you what type of resource it's collecting. So if you're looking for a specific resource type, now you open up the world map, set your waypoint, go there, help, everybody wins. Fun, fun, fun. So this is a very ambitious, aggressive game, right? We've built it like 3 times now based on your feedback. And, you know, we're probably going to change some things down in the future, again, based on your feedback. But, you know, this is something that we really appreciate and encourage you to keep working with us on this, because it's this team effort between you and us that makes this all possible. And to make that even clear, like, we're going to do bi-weekly test where, you know, we're going to ask you feedback. You're going to tell us, we're going to publish what that is, and also display it on a new TV series called Behind the Beans, that we're going to be really talking about the feedback that you guys have given us and what we're changing and why we're changing. So I think that's the gist of what I had to say. We'll turn this back over to Mark.
Thanks, Scott. So, yeah, a lot of changes in this patch. We've moved to a MOBA-style system for frames where you collect frames. Frames have ultimate abilities that you charge up in the field that are really fun to use. An extreme focus on PvE with 30 new, local events and multiple dynamic encounters through the world. And a really rich crafting system that makes it more like Minecraft than anything else. You have to go out, mine resources, and get this gear to fully customize your suit. So that's a lot of the different things that we're trying that are pretty new, pretty bold for an MMO FPS. But like I said, Red 5 isn't just about creating games that take risks and innovations. We're about celebrating the risks and the creativity that indie gamers and small developers are taking every day. We love indie development. We think that's where a wealth of great ideas come from. And like us, they're trying to change everything. They're trying to create more fun. Well, when we started out, we had a problem in that we were an unknown studio. No one had heard about Firefall before. No one believed about a AAA free-to-play game back then. And for a company like us, even with funding, it was a little hard to get exposure, because most of the exposure that you see on Gaming Network TV is focused on big publishers, consoles, massive titles, and things like this. So we said, why don't we change something else in our industry? Why don't we create network quality game programming that really celebrates equally all the efforts throughout the industry, from mobile to social to indie gaming, as well as some of the big releases. And that is really community driven, that is really tied to the gamer and the community that's been helping us make this game. So we created a channel called Stage 5 Television. And Stage 5 Television is pretty unique. It's free on the web, available right now through YouTube or our website, stage5.tv. But for the first time, we're bringing network quality programming into a free environment here for gaming television. And we hadn't formally announced it till now because we were kind of waiting for some of our lead shows to come online. One of them has come online called Rise of the Indies, where we go and we shoot documentaries. And we do all this free of charge. We go out, we meet indie devs, we film them, we do documentary about their game, and then we upload it and put it on the web. But the show that we're launching now is a little different. But before I do that, let me show you a little bit about what Stage 5 TV is about so you can get an idea.
As a player, I enjoy having new and fresh experiences.
It's going to make you think much harder to figure out how to build something like this.
Freaking jetpacks!
Calm down, Michelle. Good luck, you'll need it. Give me a gun!
I've thought about starting my own studio for my entire career.
The ability to actually reach out directly to the people that are playing your games right now is unparalleled.
We take video game tropes and test them out on a real-world scope.
Bear's coming!
You bear!
Where is the key to the...
I don't have it.
I'm really excited to be part of the Firefall cosplay program. It's really a dream come true.
How does it feel when you walk around in it?
It's pretty comfortable.
I think this costume looks wonderful.
Hey guys, welcome to Firefall Live.
Firefall Fest 2012.
with our two very, very special guests, Nathan Fillion and Allison Hayslip. What's up? What's happening?
It's sort of giving an opportunity for filmmakers and new content creators to like get their work out there in a way that wasn't possible 5 years ago.
Fasten your seatbelts.
You know, they talked to us about the concept, and then they just kind of like let us go.
Gaming ain't no game. It's a dangerous world where you gotta do what you do to survive, and you gotta watch who you trust with your life. Aliens, ninjas, and spiders, and careful where you point.
Sneak peek of some of our shows that we have on the channel now, plus one that's coming up. Again, it's a show that's really there, again, for gamers and for new creativity out there in game development. So we don't want to just celebrate the people making the games, we want to celebrate all the gaming culture around it. Shows like Project Cosplay show that off, as well as some upcoming shows like this one. So Game Changers is our lead show. We put a lot of effort into this, and what the concept is basically Mythbusters and Top Gear meets gaming. So we've got three hosts. We have Lee Rarman, former American Gladiator and star of our game Typhon. We have Michelle Boyd from Team Unicorn, and Ryan Welsh from the award-winning Bite Me series on YouTube and Machinima. So we've taken them and we have put them to the test. There's nothing these guys won't do to prove that you can do in real life what you can do in gaming. So a key example of that is we strapped on jetpacks. Now, everyone's done jetpacks before. We've seen them before at like stadiums and things, but nobody's done it with paintball guns. Can you really shoot people in the air? Can you have a duel that works? We find out in this episode that's available now on our Stage 5 channel, but I'm going to show you a little bit of the behind the scenes that went into it so you can see the quality level that we do in these shoots and the fact that we're very serious about bringing network quality totally to the web.
It's a tight day. We have a lot we want to do. There's a lot of stunts involved, technicalities, and a lot of cameras.
Probably the most challenging part of the show is trying to get these guys to be able to hit a target with a paintball gun that's strapped to a jetpack that's strapped to their backs while flying over water.
Here's my problem with this. Look at those targets. They're facing us. When we come at them, aren't we going to be going at them sideways and trying to shoot them?
Well, no, because that's why you come at this one straight, and then you loop around.
If the targets would have been a little bit bigger, that would have made it a little bit easier, because these are all beginners out there. They have to be marksmen to hit those targets.
Now, I don't know that we actually took into account how difficult it was going to be coordinating a Sea-Doo and a boat and a helicopter with a remote camera and two guys flying around in jetpacks in a small area of water with a crew on the beach.
You have not only the elements of water, but the fact that they're dueling in the air. I ended up actually pulling the tip off of a Q-tip and sticking it on the end of the microphone because I had an issue with the wind as well. And they don't really make windscreens for those.
That's a really high-tech waterproofing device.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Top of the line. We used some condoms, wrapped them up nice and tight.
Yeah, we definitely like to keep safety a priority. You know, we like to keep a very good distance between the subject and the helicopter.
You had to be a little more safe just because you had these guys as beginners that were trying to fly around these jetpacks. So trying to keep your distance, still being able to get the shot, trying to stay in front of them, keep it safe so they don't run into you and you don't run into them.
They're shooting at me. There's that wake from the camera boat. That helped.
It's harder than it looks. You think you once you get up to a certain point, level out, that you just kind of have to stay still and it'll be cool. No, it's constant readjustments. The pod behind you is getting hit by the wake that you've created, so it keeps like pulling you back. There's all this sort of thing.
I'm gonna kick your tomorrow. You're going down.
Bring it on!
Don't tell. I'm gonna be awesome at it.
What you
say was your idea?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. That was so much fun. I'm ecstatic. That was awesome.
Honestly, when I first started, we all thought Lee was the one to beat. He's the bigger guy, so he was the most stable. Ryan's coming from behind. He's the quick and stealthy one. I don't know. I'm just keeping all of my skills under wraps.
like driving a car and going like this, and you're always, oh shit, I went too far right. Oh, I went too far left. Oh shit, I went too far right. And that never ends. You never come out of that. Let's hurry up and get in the water because I got to pee. Sorry.
And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Matt DeWald, our community maestro, who will also be doing a live Firefall Live today.
First, thank you everybody for coming, including our community. So this is a nice job to get mixture of press and community. It's really great to have you guys here. I don't really need a clicker. There you go. You can look at the Firefall logo. Really, I'm just here to facilitate any questions you guys have. So we have some microphones coming around the audience. Is there any questions from the press particularly? Because I know you guys have other appointments coming up. Community guys, we're going to be here all day. So yeah, feel free.
Now you said that the app for the I wrote it down, man. I had too much to drink last night. I'm sorry. The Stage5.tv is coming up for iOS and Ouya. Does that mean it's also going to be available for Android devices, as the Ouya is based on the Android operating system?
Very astute observation. Yes, it will be available for Android, probably starting with the Kindles first. The Android's a very fragmented environment, and because of the screen sizes and stuff, we have to have like 10 or 12 different sample devices in the office that we're working on. So Kindle will be first.
Sweet. Any other questions from the press crowd? Right next to you.
Well, I guess everything you're doing with Stage 5 sort of fills that void a little bit with now, as far as G4 is falling downhill, now we kind of have this in a way in its place. Are there any more programs that maybe you can tease that are coming along with that?
Not at this time. We're just focusing on the Game Changers one, which we think is a lot of fun. You expect to see a lot more Rise of the Indies. We'll be covering a lot of the games that got kickstarted recently, and I'm probably going to scope the hall next door to see if anyone wants a free documentary on their upcoming game.
I think that's worthy of writing down right now, is that Mark held something back. So he didn't tease something in advance and leaves it for later. So that's good.
And I'm not following my usual pattern.
Any other questions from press?
There is something very special coming up on Stage 5, but that won't be for a couple months, and it's Firefall related. There you go, Matt.
Thanks.
All right. I have a quick question about Firefall. I know that it is available for PC as far as the beta goes, but is there going to be any other platform that is going to be available?
Right now it's just PC. We are based on a DirectX renderer that we've been working on for quite some time. So this is a technical answer. We don't have an OpenGL version yet, but that's high on our list. So once we have that, you can probably expect us to see us branching out a little bit.
Well, what about next-gen platforms like PlayStation 4, next Xbox?
Consoles are dead.
There's your quote, folks.
TM. Soon, TM.
Question in the back.
I was just wondering what the end game content for Firefall is going to be like.
There is no end game. The game keeps going. No, for us, we have a lot of features that are planned. You know, we're not done with this game by a large stretch. You know, and your continued support in playing the game enables us to keep adding features. You know, so we're never really going to be finished. There's always going to be more and more and more content. One of the areas I'm excited to roll out to make Matt happy soon are armies. You know, and being able to become an army member and do things with your army and for your armies is where we.
But that's already out, Scott.
Well,
it's
I
not
think
really
he's talking
promising.
tech trees.
Yeah, I didn't say tech.
Now you did. I'll promise it. We're doing tech trees for armies.
All right,
Creating
so
features on the fly.
Yeah, there you go. So armies are going to have a lot of progression to them as well. You'll be able to build a lot of cool stuff and use that against your enemies or your friends.
Yeah,
So-
and we also want to talk about open world PvP, and we started out. We're doing boss missions or bosses.
Yeah,
during the game.
there's actually a lot of different tracks you can do. End game raiding is not really our thing. Remember, this is a sandbox environment, so you'll be teching up your frames, and there's new resources and new frames being introduced on a consistent basis. So there's always something new gadget to chase after for your frame. We also have a 5-year story arc that we've been working on with Orson Scott Card, and this whole thing, this story-based campaign, it rolls out in episodes, and we'll be be talking about that a little later. So there's that as well. And there's also, of course, PvP, both the instance PvP we have now, the esports PvP that we're running, and as well as our future open PvP plans.
Actually, I was going to, can you elaborate on what's your guys' vision for open PvP?
So open world PvP is well, we haven't gone into a lot of the details, but one of the things we have announced is that they're armies. So you can predict that there's probably going to be army on army hotness, and you know, resources are in
televised
the game.
on Stage 5.
Yeah, resources are also in the game. You know, so it seems reasonable that armies actually might fight over resources. Just a guess, but that seems like it might be headed.
Yeah, that's something we're saving for a future update. We have announced, you know, that there are armies. We have even talked about additional races that we've been working on, but we're not going to be going any further than that
looking at me as if I'm
before
in
Matt
charge.
activates the shock collar. Okay.
So when the game actually releases, do you plan on each episode in a way creating a different way to play the game, almost like Eve has done, or World of Warcraft for the expansions? Is it going to be like a game-changing episode, or do you plan on sticking to one way of playing it, one theme, and going along till the end?
Yeah, one of our themes has always been that whatever happens in the episode, we actually want to take into account what players do to actually alter or affect the second episode. Now, that doesn't mean we can't completely change the second episode, because we have to start building it before the players are done with one. But we are building mechanisms in there where players can influence and their activities get highlighted in the second and future episodes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we said is, you know, this is your world and you fight for it and you get to change it. And what he's alluding to there is actually giving you guys the power for how Firefall does evolve. You know, we are going to deliver on that one. It's going to be awesome.
Now, with you know, the availability out there, World of Warcraft, Rift, Old Republic, what are some of the more important lessons you guys have taken away from watching, you know, World of Warcraft kind of brush aside any MMO that tries to come up on it? I mean, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I fell in love with Knights of the Old Republic. So when Old Republic came out, I was like, how can you screw this up? And they did. So, you know, what were some of the bigger lessons?
Don't say that. I've dropped $600 on it since it went free to play.
I'm still paying for it. I think it's because I haven't canceled my debit card on it. I'm like, oh, I might go play it again. But yeah, what were some of the really big lessons that you guys took away from seeing, you know, these other MMOs that came out, you know? And I've been following you guys since PAX East last year and seeing, you know, your behind the scenes with the bus and how involved you are with your community, which is amazing. You know, what were some of the biggest lessons you pulled away from watching these other guys kind of fall away?
Well, you know, I was at GDC several years ago, and someone asked me, what's it going to take to compete with WoW? I was on a panel with Raph Koster and a couple other people, and I said, don't do WoW. I said, it's suicide. I mean, you know, they've outspent everybody else, and they've captured a large part of the audience, and frankly, you know, you need to do something new. To me, I think the formula is kind of played out. I mean, we tricked people in WoW. When I was working on it, all there was before WoW was grinding mobs, right? In EverQuest, my friends, I would sit down and we'd go out and grind mobs and level up. So when I invited my EQ friends into the alpha for WoW, they would run out and they'd just start killing mobs. And they'd come back to me and say, I don't know, it's just like EverQuest. What's the difference? I was like, did you try the quests? And they went, quests? And I was like, yeah, the guys with the exclamation marks over their heads. And so they went and did that. And then they were amazed. They had a completely game-changing experience. But what were quests really? They were just a way to give purpose to grinding on mobs and hiding that from you. And players have figured that out now. So we need to move on to new things. And for us, it's really the player-driven content that happens in the world and the dynamic events that happen in the world. We wanted to get away from that static formula, which really, it's been great. We've had a good run, but it's time to move on.
All right, you mentioned you wanted to have a focus on esports also, but were you thinking of creating your own league, like War Gaming starting, or joining on to another league? Because I know IPL just went down, or how do you want to go about promoting that?
Well, I think right now we're just focused on really enriching the PvE world. I mean, our customers have really told us clearly that's like, hey, the PvP is coming along. Let's get the PvE love in there. And so we put a lot of work into that. Esports is still something that we're interested in. But we think it's in a pretty good place right now. We have one of the best spectator modes in any shooter. I encourage you to check it out if you haven't yet on the replays. And we built that for broadcasters in mind, and we built the bus for esports in mind. So you'll see that come online, but right now the focus is all PvE.
Now, you said that World of Warcraft has spent more money than everybody else, and you guys have been developing Firefall for quite a while. You said you've rebuilt it 3 times now, and now you have this ambitious television series or station, effectively. Where's the money coming from?
We've spent a lot less than we did on WoW. Having run WoW and run this team, we're trying to do more with less, and I think that's the other thing we learned is the way that we manage our team is very different from the way that Blizzard does or other companies that are very top-down driven. What we did was we distribute the creativity amongst the whole team. We want to create a creative mecca, and we found that we're able to do stuff faster, and especially since we have a community that we can test stuff out with early rather than waiting until the final result, that we can iterate a lot quicker to get all the suck out and get to the core of the fun. So we've actually spent less than World of Warcraft developing this game. I think we just try to work smarter.